yesterday about forgiveness in the church, and I guess the same as what Linda and Jean were saying. Sometimes in forgiveness it can seem in the natural too hard, and God knows what you can and can't do in the natural, but in God's help you can, And there was a situation with us that Chris had managed a Christian company, and he was the boss of this Christian company, and the owner actually accused him of stealing, and to the point of he fired Chris. And it was a false accusation, obviously, and all of the employees were going to walk out with him because Chris had put a lot of years and hours and that into this company. And we actually pulled them aside and said to him, no, you've got to do what God wants you to do, and you need to honour this. And we did the right thing. We said to them the right thing, and we got them to stay in the company because we believed in the company and stuff. And we said God will justify us, and He's the lifter of our head. And then I thought, forgiven and forgotten, like what Linda said, and years went by, and the Lord asked me to forgive this man, and I hated him. Because he, there's a lot more to the story, but anyway. And I didn't know that I was capable of hating someone, but I really did not want him to succeed because he'd broken our heart, But God does different things, and He asks faith. And like with Linda, he in the natural she couldn't have done what she did, but God required faith for her to do it in faith. And for me, He did a little bit different, which He does in all situations. And He'd ask me to pray for this man. And I'm like, I am not praying for this man. And I kicked and screamed. I wasn't so holy like Jean and Linda. I'm like, no way, And the Lord asked me every day to pray for this man. And I did it in my head out of obedience to God. But my heart wasn't there. I'm being totally honest. My heart was not there. But I knew the power of forgiveness, and I knew the power of obedience to God too. So I kept praying every day for this man. It did not take me 3 days like Jean. It took me weeks, I'm sorry. But be honest, it actually took me weeks. And but I faithfully prayed for this man, for his business, for his family, for his children, for every area, for blessing in my head and all that sort of stuff. And then it was like one day it broke in my spirit. And one day I actually believed, and I actually wept for this man, and actually believed that I wanted him blessed, that I wanted him whole, and it wasn't that I wanted anything bad for him. I just didn't want to have to pray. I was happy for him to have a life and good, have a good life, but I just didn't want to have to pray that, for him. I just wanted nothing to do with him. And sometimes God will require something, and it might be a really hard thing. There's some people here that have been abused. There's people here that have had some major things that in the natural, it's too hard. It's too hard. But in God, you can do it. And it brings release in your life. When you're not forgiving, even if you've been the one that's been hard done by, it's you that it will affect. It's you that will benefit, that's right. And I did. I prayed for that man. And then after, I knew the release, and I knew that it had broken in my life over him, I still continued to pray for him. And I know that if I met that man, that I could hug him like a brother and stuff like that, And the Lord showed me things in him, what was going on in him and stuff like that, that it wasn't about us. We were just the back end of it and stuff. So some of us think it's too hard to forgive, but God will lead you to that, and it can be a different way. Like for Linda, it was go up to him, and for Jean, it was different again, and for me, it was different again, So
it's good.